victims' families who met with the president during the campaign to kind of get their perspective on action or lack thereof coming out of Washington. And some of them have expressed some real frustration that they feel that the president could be doing more here, that he could be putting more public pressure on Congress. Your response to that, and why aren't we seeing him today, for instance, come out and speak publicly and trying to urge more action here?
Well, we issued, or are issuing, if it hasn't gone out yet, a public statement from the president in his name commemorating the anniversary of the death of George Floyd, a moment that impacted him deeply personally, as it did millions of Americans. As you know, he's meeting with the family today. He wants that to be a private discussion. He has a close relationship with them, or they've really impacted him in their courage and grace over the last year, and he felt it was important for that to be private. But look, I think we may just have a disagreement in terms of what the right strategic approach is to these negotiations moving forward and getting to the final outcome, which we all want to see, which is a bill that the president can sign into law. I will say that we are very engaged with a range of groups around the country, civil rights groups, police reform groups, and advocates about what they think is going to work, and we've kept them abreast of what our strategy is. I'll also note, though, that the president has also, while we've been pushing for this legislation, he also, when he was running for office, pledged to appoint DOJ leadership that would prioritize pattern or practice investigations, emphasize the importance of the Justice Department using the authority he spearheaded as senator to investigate systemic police misconduct. That's something the Attorney General has already moved forward on. And we also, in our initial budget calls that we put out several weeks ago, we called for increasing funding for the Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division by millions of dollars in order to advance accountability and reform. So I will say we are continuing to press in the way we feel is most effective and most constructive in coordination with the negotiators, but we also are taking additional steps that we can take and our administration can take to move forward accountability and justice. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. Just to follow up on Mary's questions, why wouldn't the president use his bully pulpit today to call for police reform? Is it a missed opportunity?
Well, Kristen, he used the opportunity of his joint session address, which is the highest profile moment any president of the United States has in their first year of office, to call for forward movement on police reform, to call for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act to pass. And we put out a statement today, and he's meeting with the family. Again, I think this is a matter of what we feel is most constructive to move these negotiations forward and to get to the final outcome that everybody who advocates for justice, who advocates for reform wants to see, which is signing this bill into law.
And when does he expect to see this bill on his desk? Is it this summer?
I'm not here to put a new timeline on it, Kristen. He's encouraged by the statement we saw the negotiators put out yesterday, that they feel there is an opportunity for progress, for forward momentum, for forward movement. That certainly is significant coming from Democratic and Republican negotiators.
As you know, Congress works very well when they have a deadline. There doesn't seem to be a deadline anywhere.
As soon as possible, he'd like to sign the bill into law. As soon as possible.
How does he keep the pressure up, though?
He remains closely engaged and closely in touch with the negotiators about what is most constructive and what role he can play and we can play to leave the space for them to negotiate and to move toward a place where he can sign the bill into law.
And following up on Russia.